Are you worried about a plan for step one? I'll give you the game plan on the night before, the day of, to make sure you're going to be comfortable and successful on this massive test day. I'm going to start from the night before. I can't emphasize how important it is to make sure you get enough sleep. For me, I took some sleeping pills actually to make sure that my mind wouldn't be running amok throughout the night like it typically does on such an anxiety filled nighttime. So I would suggest, if you're able to, take one a little bit earlier, around 7 p.m., so that you can get a full night's sleep, but not oversleep to the point of being unable to wake up on time in the morning. Some people use either melatonin pills or something like Let Me Sleep, but it's up to you. The whole point is, please do not take it at 10 p.m. at nighttime, because you might fall asleep and not wake up to your alarm. And then don't blame me, because I don't know what's going on with you. The next thing I want to say is, on the day of, you have to wake up very early. I'd suggest waking up about 2 to 3 hours before the test, which is why you also have to go to bed very early. You wake up in the morning, you want to try and just focus yourself. You need to start envisioning your success. You also have to eat a very hearty breakfast. I would suggest eat a balanced breakfast. You should try to have a full breakfast with protein and some complex carbs. I would tell you to avoid any greasy foods or any other new things that your body is not used to, just so you can get the actual energy and calories that you need to fuel your brain through this exam. Lastly, for the morning before you go, trust me, no need to cram anything. At this point, you already know what you do know. So you have to believe in yourself. Eat something, play some calming music if you need to, because your heart might be racing a little bit. And then put your best foot forward and head towards the exam center. Before you leave your house, you want to make sure that you do have your ID card, government issued. You want to have your testing permit, because you will need that at the testing center. Please bring a bottle of water, take the wrap off, clear bottle. They will let you bring it into the exam hall. And then please bring some snacks as well. I suggest protein bars. If you have any, they are really good. Sometimes you can even bring a cookie. Just something to give you a little bit of sugar, give you a little bit of energy in the middle of the exam. Most importantly, I want to talk about the mental prep that you have to do. While you're on your way, if you're driving or taking the bus or train towards your exam center, you want to start to visualize success. It is very imperative in your mind that you're thinking and visualizing a pass. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass. I've worked hard for this. I'm going to pass. You have to say that to yourself. And once you do that enough times, you start to see it happening in front of you. Now, during the exam, the most important thing is you know that you have put the work in previously. So once you've sat down, the main thing you want to do is just get started. You can say a quick prayer beforehand if you're a religious person, but click the start button and move on with your life. Focus on each question. You want to start doing each question. It's very important that you understand that every question is worth 1 point. So if you're taking a lot of time on a question, it's not going to help you for the further questions. If you spend 2 to 3 minutes on a single question, you need to know that that's taking away time from you to be able to answer other questions that are coming up. So have a timer going on in your head, right? And by the time you get to about halfway of a block, you should be about halfway through the questions as well. There are 40 questions in each block. So by the time you have about 30 minutes left in a block, you should be over question 20. Okay? I believe in flag and move on. If you don't know the question, if you don't know the concept, if you're having a difficult time, flag and move on. Because the more time you spend over one single question, again, I'm saying it enough times, I'm hitting this bell over and over again, the less time you have for the other ones, which you might even know, but you're going to find yourself trying to click, 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 which doesn't help you at all to get the scores that you need. I am a big believer in noise cancellation. I get very distracted easily by people's clicks, sounds, and even myself sometimes, like tossing and turning and squirming on the exam chair. So please get some plugs, soft ear plugs. Most of the time, the exam center or the testing center will have those available for you. Because I think the over the ear ones are quite bulky and they also do, press on the ear and they're a little uncomfortable. So get some soft foam earplugs just so you have some with you in case, and put those in from the moment you step in. Only take them out if you do have to listen to an audio clip for a question. Now, in regards to the breaks, you should have a strategy for how you approach your breaks. This is what I did, but there's so many other ways to do this, so you can come up with something for yourself. Plan your breaks properly. I took the first 3 blocks in a row before I took my first authorized break. And then I split the last 4 blocks into 2 blocks evenly. So I would do 2 blocks and take a break, do 2 blocks, and that was the end. And what I did in my break time is just as important as planning the breaks in themselves anyway. For my breaks, I made sure, number 1, that I did not look at any information outside. Because once the question is gone, the question is gone. And the likelihood of you seeing the same concept again is pretty low. So I suggest for each break time that you have, you want to be focused on calming yourself down, taking a bit of a breather, drinking some water, and especially after the first 3 blocks, putting something else in your body like a protein bar that gives you a little bit of energy and allows your brain to feel refueled and rejuvenated to attack the next 2 blocks. I did this in each of my 3, technically 2, authorized breaks, and that really helped me push through towards the end and minimize the amount of fatigue I had. I think it's also very important to, again, don't spend time on your phone. If you do have to use your phone, use it only to play some calming music. That, I think, was a game changer for me. Because after the first 3 blocks, I won't lie, the heart rate was a little bit up, like I said. But I had to calm myself down. Marconi Union's weightless, amazing. But that's just me. That allowed me to settle myself down while keeping a mental clock of how much time I did have left, and allowed me to push forward towards the end. And each time I left my break, I took a second to center myself and then go back into the room, earplugs in, boom, right to the next block. Now, when you get to your final block, please, 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 please stay locked in. You have to remain focused. The final block counts as much as the first block does. You can't mess around and be like clicking. That's not helping you. So try to stay focused. Remember, you're on a timer. Remember the pace you have to keep going. Remember the things I said earlier about making sure you flag and move on and not obsess over any single question. And come back to all the questions you flagged at the end, because you hopefully will have enough time to look at them again. But for your final block, you want to focus on each question. You get your answer, you move on. You trust your gut, right? Because whatever your first answer is, after you've read each stem thoroughly, usually tends to be the correct answer. So you want to trust your gut, trust that you've put in the work, you click on something, and then you move on. If you're in between two options or 3 options, you flag that question and you try to come back to it. Something else about the final block is that you are going to feel fatigue. Mentally, your brain is going to feel like mush. I've always said this. But if you have been practicing beforehand on doing many blocks during your dedicated period leading up to step 1, this is something that you would have experienced very well and you'll be almost comfortable dealing with. I'm going to talk about this at length in a different video on the way you should practice before taking step and how you should practice before taking step. But trust me, if you don't build that muscle up, by the time you get to that point, you're going to have a very hard time pushing through the fatigue. But once you have done this, you're going to be fully capable of pushing through that fatigue, that mental fatigue, that mental block, and be able to still click on the right options, trust in your gut, and finishing everything on time. When you're done with the exam, I want you to just take a breather and tell yourself, it is finished. Job's done for now. You've put in the work for weeks. You have to believe that you did enough to get that big pass. Don't try to overanalyze anything. Don't spend your time going through anything, because you literally cannot change what the exam score will end up being at that point. So your main focus should be on moving forward with your life for the next 2 weeks or 3 before you see your results. Spend time with your loved ones. Take yourself out and treat yourself to something, because you have done something that lots of people are looking forward to doing. A lot of people might not even get the opportunity to do, but you were able to get to that point and you've put your best foot forward, and now it's time to relax and let the cards fall where they may. I suggest getting something great to eat, get a nice drink, and then get some really good sleep, because you're going to need it. I, for one, had a really bad headache when I finished step 1. So I couldn't even go out. But guess what I did? I got some kava, and I got to stay home and just relax, eat, and go right to bed. Over the next week or 2, you're going to have lots of thoughts of anxiety and nervousness while you wait for your scores. Please believe in yourself. You can't change anything, so stay locked in. Try to prep for what's coming up next. And then when you see those results, I hope you get a massive, big pass. One final thing. I want to say step 1 does not define you. It is simply just one step in the journey. In this life that we have to live, all that matters is how you do, both in the face of victory and defeat. What do you do afterwards? The most important thing is to keep moving forward. Don't fall down. Don't slack off. Keep moving forward. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you'd like to see more of this, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.